say, welcome back to another episode of Road to William, y'all. Today we're talking about Etta James, one of my favorite artists of all time. I used to hear, the classic At Last videos when I was younger, but then it wasn't until Cadillac Records and Beyonce played a classic role of Etta James, and that's when I really was like, okay, I like the music that they're putting in here, but I want to hear the original artist who sang this and how she sang it. And I'm like, and it was quite similar. It's pretty good. Like Beyonce did a really good job, but still honing like her own sound. And that's why I like their versions differently. But I gotta give it to Etta James, the original. Yeah, Beyonce is basically who introduced me to Etta James for real. And then I dove more into her story, and when I was in college, we had to do something where, like, I don't know what project it was. Either way, I did one, and Etta James was part of it, and it got me love her even more when I learned about like her background, and so I was like, she needs her own movie. Like they only gave her a little snippet, but if you haven't seen Cadillac Records, you should watch that. It's a really good movie. And I always love to see like how accurate did they get it to. It was good. So we're gonna watch a few videos on Etta James, just so for the people who don't know her like that, or people who love her, like this for them, this for people who need to know about Etta James. Just a snippet. Go stream her music, go buy her music. One of the greats to ever, and not just her music. I felt like her personality was through her music and the way she performed. Her performance is great. Like anyone can make a song, but can you perform? That's what makes you an entertainer. You know what I'm saying? Okay, give me some. You're like, dude, if you don't get your old Cadillac Records, the real story. I'm gonna have to watch that later. Y'all watch it too. Let me know on Bet Show 80. So we're gonna watch this by Biography. This was made 10 years ago. So shout out to Biography. We're gonna watch that.
And it's Jazz Vocal Performance, 1994. Mystery Lady, songs of Billie Holiday. Miss Etta James.
That was Etta James receiving a well-deserved Grammy Award. That was 4 hard decades in the making. She had many, many nominations. Her Hall of Friends includes Aretha Franklin, Tina Turner, Chuck Berry, Marvin Gaye, James Brown. Etta sang with them, partied with some of them, and now she's written about them and of course her own life in her uncensored autobiography, Rage to Survive. We welcome you back to Live at 5, Etta. At the top of that was the clip of you receiving a Grammy. Now, this was a CD you weren't sure that you wanted to record.
No, but I always loved Billie Holiday.
Mm-hmm.
And as a child, my mother was a real jazz lover and everything. And so I had been through those same experiences. And I said, hey, I got to do this. And I'm not going to try to do it like Billie Holiday.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to put that same feeling in the air. You know what I mean?
You remember the first time you saw her?
Yeah. Matter of fact, it was here in New York City. And I think it was for NBC, but it was NBC Radio at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a show that they called the show Jazz plus Soul equals Blues. And I didn't know which one I was. I said, I wonder, because I was about 17 or 18 years old. And Count Basie was there, myself, and then Billie Holiday was coming. And I remember waiting for her to come because I want to see Lady Day.
Yeah.
And I sat there and we waited, and she was late. And finally, the door swung open, and there she was. Lady Day was just like, Billie Holiday. And she came to the door, and there were 2 men with her, one on each side.
Hold her elbow.
Yeah, they were helping her with their elbows. And she was walking in very slowly, and I was looking at her from her head to the top of her, from her toes to her head. And I looked, and I noticed her feet. She had on these spaghetti strap shoes, and her feet were very swollen. And so then I realized they were really helping her to walk. And then when she sat down about 2 seats away from me, and I didn't want to really stare at her, but I kind of was looking, like corner my eye at her, and I looked at her hands, and her hands were like boxing gloves. That's the closest I can think about it. And then she looked at me, and we finally locked eyes. And she said to me, she says, are you looking at me? She had that gravel in her voice. And I said, yes. She said, don't let this ever happen to you. And that's what was so strange. It was like, because I wasn't into drugs, or I wasn't into. I just was a young girl who started singing and loved her as part of the women that I loved in show business. But I remembered when I later on became addicted, all of that flashed back on me. It's like, why did she tell me that? Why did she look into my eyes and say, "Don't let this"? I mean, what made her think?
I would try to take a guess. I would say here is a young woman. It's a 17-year-old woman, and she's big and bad enough to be out on this tour. She's also big and bad enough to get into trouble. It's probably what she saw. And you had a quote. I was a fool, smart enough to know I was a fool, dumb enough not to care. Now that's a real fool. So that may be partially the reason why you probably just ignored her.
That's it. And you know, Sue, I have been a fool, and I'm still a fool.
But you're live, and you're recording, and you look wonderful, you look healthy. But more than that, we want to look at a clip of you in the recording studio for your newest CD. Okay.
Don't explain, you're my joy and pain. Don't explain.
Let me correct myself and say that was from Mystery Lady that you got the Grammy for. The new CD is Time After Time, which is another album full of jazz tunes. Let's just talk about Minnesota Fats for a second. Briefly to say that your mother would tell you different stories about who your dad was.
Right.
But at one point she pointed at the TV, said, Minnesota Fat, that's your dad. You saw the resemblance. And tell me what it was like when you finally ran into him in 1987.
I went into Nashville, Tennessee, and he was there. And a friend of mine was with me, and she called the hotel where he was. And I said, well, and he says, well, sure, come on down. And he's this real animated thing. You know, it's just like the connection of all that. I'm listening on the phone when she calls. So I said, okay, let's go on down. We get a limousine and we go down to the hotel. And he's sitting across the lobby. And as we walk in, but he had this little floozy with him, kind of like a little country and Western girl. Now, I guess he must be, 85 years old. And he was sitting there. And as I came up the stairs, I looked over toward the lobby. There he was sitting. And I was so scared. I mean, you're talking about butterflies. I was so scared as I walked toward him. He looked at me, but then he kind of looked away. It was like he didn't want to stare me down as I was looking at him, coming toward him. And this little Susie was sitting there, and she was like, yeah, that's her. She's coming in there. What is this all about? And I assumed that he hadn't talked to her about anything, because I had talked to him many, many years ago on a phone in Dalton, Illinois. And I said, I don't want anything. All I want to know is, did you know this black lady girl
named Dorothy?
Yeah, but quite naturally, this girl was 14 years old, so he's not going to admit. He says, I don't know.
We gotta go, Etta.
Oh,
we gotta go. Isn't that terrible? The fact is, he did know a lot of the same people that Etta's mother knew, but it was just too long ago, and he didn't remember. The book is a fabulous book. It is called Raised to Survive, Etta James. The new CD is Time After Time, which she recorded Don't Go to Strangers, which was Etta Jones's hit record. They've been confused all their life. I don't know why she recorded it, but it's a great rendition. And tomorrow...
Thank you so much. The thing about this is, she is so bad. I'm not like Ruth Brown, that I can just remember everything that I want to say. I had to write myself a little note. I do know. I also would like to say something that I heard Natalie Cole say a while back.
Now, before y'all say anything, back then record labels don't act. I know we all about independent now, but let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it a bean. Back in the day, getting a record deal was everything to somebody. Like, you made it, like, where they were giving people chances. You could go. Y'all seen the movie The Temptation? You could walk up to Motown and just be like, look, I got talent, and they'll actually try and give you a shot. So a record deal was a big deal back then. Now, some artists mess with it because it makes sense for them. But a lot of people just want to, if I'm the one putting all this work in, I might as well just learn everything and just Listen, let's keep going.
Hey Jay, what's up? And I want to thank really. What I want to say is, Jerry Wexler called me one day on the phone. He says, Jerry Wexler calling from New York. He says, I get in the phone. I says, yeah, Jerry, what's up? He says, hey, Etta, you know what your problem is? You need a fish nor fowl. We know now what I am, right? I'm rock and roll. I thank you. I thank the rock and roll musicians that keep kicking ass, and thank you so much. God bless you.
One more video. Shout out to Black All Day. Got this from Tarjay. And on the back, it's saying Black All Day, Every Day. Support your locals. Go to Target. They got the whole Black History Month section, that whole section. Arrow cards, hats, beanies. We trying to look for these beanies. They got Barbie dolls. It was like Ida B. Wells and Bessie Williams. I don't know if that was her. Bessie something. I forgot. I'm like, I'd buy this whole thing. They got shirts, jackets, you know, for people trying to step out. And then I'd be like insecure, like, what if people, I'm like, people gonna look at me crazy regardless. I might as well, this like my little uniform now. So you gonna see, it's just like my other sweatshirt. It's like, dude, do you own any clothes? I just bought some new white tees. Y'all, don't be sticking around with them dingy white tees. Just revamp it, dude. Just bite the bullet. Buy a pack of them motherfuckers. They locking all the shit up. I had to ask this person. I was like, "Hey, could you unlock?" I'm like, "Damn, I feel like I'm at Walmart." Like, damn, niggas are still in underwear. Like, I'm like, "Well, damn, come on now, give me an interview." What do you got one on James Brown? Tell me in the comments, what is your favorite Etta James song? All I could do is cry. All I could do is cry.
What woman did you, pattern yourself on? There are many women, because, like this thing is like everybody's a temporary caretaker. And I could say Bessie Smith and Ma Rainey and those chicks, but they weren't in my era. But I have to say Dinah Washington. I have to say Billie Holiday. Those two women that I do know personally, they led the life that they sang about. Love is just like a faucet. It turns off and on. Love is like a faucet. It turns off and on. Sometimes when you think it's on, baby, it has turned off and on.
Billie died of a drug overdose in 1962, less than a year after her debut at the Monterey Jazz Festival. Nominee Etta James began her career at the age of 15. Her vocal talent and musical range was discovered by R&B band leader Johnny Otis. Etta's seesaw success hit a pivotal point in the mid-70s when James underwent intense drug and psychological therapy. She bounced back bolder and stronger than ever.
I don't know. Someone asked me the other day, they said, Etta, you've had a roller coaster of a life. And I mean, you can take that like, a couple of ways. I could take that and say, yeah, and but if I didn't have a roller coaster, how would I know? How would I be able to sing about the things? How would I be able to feel what I'm singing about? How would I be able to, hear someone sing a song and brings tears to my eyes? Why? Because I feel that and because I understand that. And you know what? If I had my life to live over again, those roller coasters, I wouldn't take them out. I would leave them in there, the ups and the downs, the highs and the lows. But just in the last 5 years, I realized that I think you really gotta work for what you want. You just gotta take it, fall down and get back up, brush yourself off and keep going. I really do. I love the highs and the lows. I think that's put some fat on my head. Not only on my head, but I mean. Everybody, you gotta have a category to put something in to be able to relate. Oh well, she bumps and she grinds and she squalls and she this, or that she's very she or she's that, you know. But the way I look at it is like I don't really call myself any of that, but that's what they label me with. R&B. I sing all kind of music. I sing country music. Nobody gives me a chance to sing country. And matter of fact, since I brought that up, I wanted to say that I know I'm going to be one of the first Black women to go to the Grand Ole Opry. That's one of my main ambitions. I want to make a statement, not necessarily all a woman's statement, but a statement of the musical statement that just because you so-called call me R&B, some people call me R&B, some people call me rock and roll. They kind of, in a way, want to call me jazz. Like when I had the album out last year, was nominated for the Grammys with Eddie and Red. We were in the jazz category, and here we were going to the Grammys and nominated for jazz. Here I was going to sing at the Grammys to salute the blues and being nominated for Best Jazz Vocalist. And I said, well, what am I? That kind of confused me. Am I a jazz singer or am I a blues singer? Am I what? I don't care what they call me. Just keep calling me, right? So, but I think it's always been just something that every year that if they don't call me for it, I really get my feelings hurt. It's not like a normal, another kind of festival that if I don't get called for it, it's no big deal. But if the Monterey Jazz Festival goes off and I'm not there, then I feel I get really sad.
Let me know in the comments how you felt about this video. Who do you want me to dive into next? Billie Holiday would be a good one. I think she has a movie, like a biopic. I still need to see the Bessie one of the only like Queen Latifah movies I've never seen. I think Monique is in that one too. I also have to watch the Monique interview. I started like a few minutes and I'm like, no, I have to get my videos in, and then I sit back and indulge in this knowledge that is about to transpire in this. Okay. So yeah, let me know in the comments what's good, who you want me to dive into next. What movies should I watch? I don't care if it's on Tubi or not. I like a good movie. Y'all notice it's been more like Milwaukee Tubi movies coming out, which is good and bad at the same time because now people want to start coming from Milwaukee people. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. This our year, but we better, get ready for some bullshit. Anyway, so let me know how y'all feeling today. I'm feeling pretty good. My spirits is up. Vibes is vibing. Make sure y'all spirits is up and make sure y'all vibing. If you not, reset yourself. Go outside, breathe some fresh air, go on a mini walk maybe. Light up that herb. Put that eucalyptus in that shower. You feel what I'm saying? You need to get in the zone. Get in the zone, y'all. Y'all like, bro, y'all just said that. But yeah, let me know for real on the movies though. I love a good movie recommendation. I don't care what kind of movie it is. Let me know. Still got to see American Fiction. I know. Mean Girls. I wanted to watch that, but I haven't seen that yet. There's a bunch of movies coming out, and I'm just excited. So let's go. I just want to drive in the Audi. I want to make a scream loudy. What the fuck they